Hello everyone, I am R. Nivetha from Agricultural College and Research Institute Kilikulam. Now I am going to discuss about FDI, that is Foreign Direct Investment. Generally, FDI is an investment made by a company or an individual in one country into business interest that is located in another country. It is one of the important ways for developing countries to enhance their economy. Apart from contributing to the economic growth of a country, FDI also facilitates the inflow of new technology, new ideas, skills, knowledge, and more employment opportunities in the country. Generally, FDI take place in an economy which has the prospect of growth and a skilled workforce condition. In this video, I am going to discuss about what is foreign investment, what is foreign direct investment, the need of FDI, the modes of FDI, the determinants of FDI, entry routes of FDI in India, prohibited FDI sectors in India, merits of FDI, and finally the demerits of FDI. First, let us see about what is foreign investment. It is the inflow of capital from abroad in the form of private investment. It has two components. First one is FDI, foreign direct investment. It is a real investment in which investment is made in real assets such as factories, offices, land buildings, capital goods, and so on. The second component is FPI, that is foreign portfolio investment. It is a pure financial investment where investment is made in financial assets such as in bonds and stocks. In this type of investment, ownership and use of capital remain separated from each other. Next, we are going to see about the meaning of FDI. FDI is a direct investment into production or business in a country by an individual or a company in another country. It can be either by buying a company in the target country or by expanding operations of an existing business in that country. To say in simple, FDI is when a multinational company or an individual invests their capital into another country for the benefits of their economy. It is a major source of non-debt financial resources for the economic development of a country. FDI has two components. First one is greenfield investment and the second one is acquisition and mergers. What is greenfield investment? It is the establishment of new facilities or operations in a foreign country. It is a principal mode of investing in developing countries like India. And the second one is acquisition and merging with an existing firm in the foreign country. Next, we are going to see about how FDI differs from FPI. In FDI, it is a long-term investment, whereas FPI is generally a short-term investment. In FDI, investors have a control over a management, policies, and decision-making process, whereas in FPI, investors don't have an active involvement in management. The aim of FDI is to increase enterprise capacity or productivity or change management control, whereas in FPI, the aim is to increase only capital availability. FDI leads to transfer of technology, access to markets, and management inputs, whereas in FPI, it results only in capital inflows. Who introduced FDI in India? FDI in India was introduced in 1991 under Foreign Exchange Management Act, which was implemented by the Finance Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. It comes with the baseline of $1 billion in 1990. What is the need of foreign direct investment for a country? The first reason is it is used to develop basic industries in a country and it is used to develop infrastructure to remove the shortage of foreign exchange, to improve managerial and entrepreneurial ability. It is used to improve a new technology and to exploit natural resources to set up risky and capital intensive projects and it is used to increase employment opportunities in a country. So these are all the main factors which describes the why FDI is needed in the country. On this slide, we are going to see about what are all the modes of FDI. There are two modes in which by target and by motive. By target, it has three components: horizontal FDI, vertical FDI, and platform FDI. When a parent company establishes a subsidiary for the production of goods that is identical to the host country, it comes under horizontal FDI. In vertical FDI, parent company produces intermediate goods either by upstream or downstream in the supply chain. In platform FDI, a foreign direct investment from a source country is carried out with the purpose of exporting to a third country. And by motive, it has four components. that is resource seeking, market seeking, efficiency seeking, and strategic seeking. Raw materials, natural resources, and low skilled labor all comes under resource seeking, whereas market size, per capita income, market growth, access to regional and global markets are comes under market seeking. Next, we are going to see about the determinants of FDI. The market size, trade openness, tax incentives, labor cost, economic, social, and political stability, international agreements, policy framework, these are the factors which determines the FDI. Under market size, it is usually decided by the host country's population, GDP, and per capita income. Market size gives investors an idea about the host location's general economic and demographic conditions, potential demand for their products, local sales, and profitability. Under trade openness, it is generally believed that openness and market freedom encourages FDI and economic growth. Countries which undergo trade liberalization are expected to receive more FDI. Next, FDI in India is entering into two waves. That is, first one is automatic route and second one is government route. Under automatic route, the foreign investors does not require any approval from Reserve Bank of India or Government of India for their investment. Under automatic route, 100% of FDI is allowed for the following sectors like insurance sector, infrastructure, textile industry, chemical industry, railway sector, airlines, and automotive sector. These are the sectors which have a 100% FDI allowance in India. Under government route, foreign investors should compulsorily require prior approval from the Government of India, Ministry of Finance, and Foreign Investment Promotion Board. Under government route, 49% of FDI is allowed in broadcasting content services, 20% of FDI is allowed in banking and public sector, 100% of FDI is allowed in satellite establishment and core investment company. And what are all the sectors where FDI is prohibited? They are atomic energy generation, any gambling or betting business, tobacco related industry, housing and real estate business, coal and lignite industry, and arms and ammunition industries. These are sectors in India FDI is prohibited. Next, we are going to see about regulatory framework for FDI in India. First one is SEBI, Securities and Exchange Board of Indian Act 1992. Second one is Foreign Exchange Management Act. Third one is Foreign Trade Act 1992. Income Tax Act 1961, Foreign Direct Investment Policy. And what are all the government authorities concerning FDI in India? They are Foreign Investment Promotion Board, Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, Directorate General of Foreign Trade, and Reserve Bank of India. What are the major MNCs under FDI in India? They are Apple, Vodafone, Ford Motors, LG, Samsung, Hyundai, and Accenture. These are the major multinational companies which comes under FDI in India. This picture shows during the financial year of 2019 to 2020, the top 5 sectors receiving investment in India. Among them, computer software and hardware sectors receive maximum investment in India as compared to service sector and trading sectors. This picture shows that during the financial year of 2020 to 2021, Gujarat received the highest FDI at 37% to the total equity inflows, followed by Maharashtra and Karnataka. Maharashtra holds 27% of FDI inflow, whereas Karnataka holds 13% of FDI inflows. In terms of top investor countries, Singapore is at the top with 29% of FDI inflow, followed by US, which holds 23% and Mauritius 9% during the financial year of 2021 to 2021. Next, we are going to see about what are the benefits of FDI. FDI brings in financial resources for economic development. It brings in new technologies, skills, and knowledges for the host country. For example, when foreign investors use a country's resources and labor for their industry, They can provide the host country with the largest technologies and methods for production. They will teach how the new technology works and benefits for the host country. It generates more employment opportunities for the people. It improves the quality of products and services in sectors. It helps in capital formation by bringing fresh capital in the host country. It increases tax revenues and moreover it improves foreign exchange position of the country. And these are all the adverse effects of FDI. That is, foreign enterprises obstruct the growth of indigenous industrial entrepreneurship. That is, the domestic countries may lose their ownership qualities. When a foreign firms may influence political decisions in developed countries, the cost of foreign capital for the host country tends to be very high. When a foreign investment competes with home investments, profits in domestic industries fall, leading to the fall in domestic savings. Moreover, the contribution of foreign firms to public revenue through cooperative taxes is comparatively less. And this slide shows the current FDI status in India. India has attracted the highest ever total FDI inflow of 81.72 billion US dollar during the financial year 2020 to 2021. FDI received in the first 5 months of 2021 to 2021 is 13% higher as compared to the first 5 months of 2019 to 2020. In 2019, India was among the top 10 receivers of FDI, totaling 49 billion US dollars inflows as per UN report. In February 2020, the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade notifies policy to allow 100% FDI in insurance sectors. Currently, India ranks in the list of top 100 countries in ease of doing business. According to a new FDI policy in India, the transfer of ownership in an FDI deals that benefits of any country that shares and border with India will also need a government approval. Any investors from countries which are not covered by the new policy, they have only to inform the Reserve Bank of India after a transaction rather than asking for prior permission from the relevant government department. I hope you may get some basic concepts of FDI, its importance in economic growth of our country. Thank you for watching this video.